Welcome to the What Caregivers Need to Know video show by eCareDiary.com. I'm Susan Baida, your host and co-founder of eCareDiary.com, a national website for family caregivers of aging loved ones. I'm very pleased to bring to you today's program, which is all about the benefits of protecting your family with long-term care planning and answering some of your questions about long-term care insurance. We're very happy and excited to have Mike Osilka with us today. He is a certified long-term care education and planning specialist with more than 20 years of experience in insurance and related marketing industries. He is the co-creator of LTCEPP, which is an educational program offering insights into the consequences of not planning the future for your loved ones. You can find out more information about Mike and the organization on www.ltcepp.com. Welcome, Mike.
Well, thank you. Pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Great to see you. So tell us, what is the most important point about long-term care planning that caregivers must know?
Well, Susan, simply not to put it off, or even worse yet, to ignore it completely. Many caregivers are experiencing the devastating consequences financially, emotionally, and physically from their loved ones' lack of planning. And yet it's so unfortunate that many of these same caregivers are going to put their children through the exact same situation because they're neglecting to plan for themselves. I realize how overwhelming and all-consuming caregiving can be. I lived through it myself. But long-term care is difficult enough on its own. What makes it even more difficult is that lack of planning. And I'm sure many caregivers, many in the audience, would really have appreciated if their loved ones may have been better prepared. So just as I hope that caregivers are finding time for some me time for themselves, just to keep their balance and sometimes their sanity, right, they have to find the time to ask themselves, what is my plan to protect my most important asset, my family? And proper planning is probably the best gift that anyone can give their family. And long-term care planning doesn't necessarily equal long-term care insurance, but for many people, long-term care insurance is an appropriate part of their plan. The idea is to have a plan, period. It's been said that those who cannot learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And based on their experiences, caregivers have gained tremendous insight into this issue, and they have an opportunity to learn from this insight, to be proactive and strategic so they can avoid putting their children through the same thing that they're going through. So maybe the better answer to the question initially is, don't repeat history.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. So what do you suggest that family caregivers need to do to start?
Well, the first place is to work with a specialist, somebody who knows, specializes in long-term care planning. Long-term care specialists, we are very knowledgeable within the industry, up to date with all the changes in the market and trends, expertise, work with the top carriers and products in the market to provide the most affordable and best options for the family, if indeed long-term care insurance is appropriate in the first place. And you want somebody to assist you from an educational and consultative way versus a transactional approach. An informed planning process really has 4 stages. It's education, discussion, decision, and care management. And it's important to understand such things as the cost of all types of care, what Medicare and Medicaid pay for and what they don't pay for, and other related issues before the event occurs, rather than finding out during on-the-job training. And it's also important to realize that although paying out of pocket at 100% is a plan, there's issues such as taxation, liquidity, and market timing that can have a dramatic effect on the approach to family, and their lifestyle. If you think about it, we work hard through our entire working years, retirement and saving plans, and we have goals that we want to achieve with that. And a lot of times those goals, those dreams are just wiped away because we don't plan. We don't plan accordingly. But the most important stage of that process is discussion. People have to have the courage to have this talk. And even though families they see this happening all around them, they're really not talking about it themselves. Families throughout our lives, we have all versions of the talk. Right. Drugs, dating, alcohol, driving, going away to college, all of those things that were very integral in the family relationship. No one is talking about long-term care and the need to plan. So the most important thing they can do is to have the discussion, because without discussion, nothing else happens.
And yes, like you, I have also seen the devastating effects of what happens to families when they don't plan after they've worked hard for so long. And so let's talk about long-term care insurance, Mike. So tell us about how does it work and what does it cost? Because those are questions that I think a lot of people wonder about. How much is this going to impact me now? And how do I know what's going to happen to me in the future?
And that's a great question. Investing in long-term care insurance is like you're buying a bag of money, and that's going to provide you a dedicated stream of income to pay for care. And there's no cookie-cutter approach. It's specific to the individual. And quickly, it starts with either a lifetime benefit pool, $100,000, $200,000, whatever the case might be, or a benefit period, 2, 3, 4 years. Out of that, you're going to receive a daily or a monthly benefit to pay for care. There's a waiting period or elimination period, which is like your deductible before you're eligible for benefits. And then there's some important options or riders to consider. The most important would be inflation, because inflation will allow your initial benefit pool to grow over time to help keep up with the cost of care. There's a shared care benefit that allows the spouse in claim, if they exhaust their benefits, that they could use benefits from the healthy spouse, and some other ones. And also there's plans that most plans will reimburse you for your covered expenses, but there's also plans out there that will pay all or part of the benefit in cash. Most plans are comprehensive, meaning they'll cover all venues of care: home care, assisted living, skilled nursing, adult daycare, hospice, memory units. But there's also plans out there that might be only for home care or only for facilities, and that varies by state and by product design. And premiums are based on 4 things. They're based on age, they're based on your gender, they're based on your plan design, and they're based on health. And out of those 4, health is the most important part of it. You are never as young and as healthy as you are today. It's a relative statement, but it is true. So long-term care insurance will never be as affordable and attainable for anyone, as it is today. Now, you'd ask about cost quickly. For example, a 55-year-old couple can get a $100 daily benefit for a 3-year period, a 90-day waiting period, with the guaranteed option of purchasing future benefits in the future for less than $90 a month. And that's for both of them. And if you would add a 3% compound rider to that, which will essentially double that benefit every 23 years, it's less than $180 a month. So long-term care insurance, when designed properly, can be very affordable. And in any situation, the premiums are certainly less than the cost of care.
I know that we're running out of time, but I have one last question because it's been asked of me, and that is there are plans out there that if you don't end up using or needing your long-term care insurance, is there a way to have that money reinvested somehow somewhere else?
Well, yes, there are options, whether it's a special rider. Not all carriers, but some carriers offer return a premium rider that will, in the event that one would die and not using any benefits, that the premiums would go to a beneficiary. There's also life insurance policies out there with a death benefit as well as a long-term care rider. So if that is important to an individual, there are options out there to consider.
Great. Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming today and explaining to us a little bit about long-term care insurance and the importance of long-term care planning. I want to thank our audience for joining us. Continue to view us on ecarediary.com. We have a show every Wednesday at noon. Thank you, and see you next time.